Cold calling isn't about closing. It's about progressing people through a buyer's journey. And in this video, I'll show you how to take someone that's never heard of you and move them step by step through a process to a place where they're ready to book an appointment with you. So let's dive in. Let's start with the 5 phases that people go through when they've never heard of you up to the point when they're ready to book an appointment. The first phase is you're a total stranger. They don't know your name. They don't know your company. They don't know where you're calling from. They've never heard of you, and they're probably not ready to talk to you. The second phase is they're aware of you. They know you exist, and they're annoyed that you keep contacting them. Very normal. If you're not contacting someone in a time when they're ready to talk to you, it's annoying to be interrupted. So that's normal. The third phase is they're curious about what they do, about what you do, but they're a little cold. They're watching you, they're observing you, but they're not talking to you yet. The fourth phase is they're quietly researching. This is where they're starting to take some action. They've observed you long enough and they have a problem and they're ready to start going a little bit deeper into who you are and figure out if you're a good fit. And then the fifth phase is they're ready to talk and they're ready to book an appointment. And so let's let's flip this around because all of us are sold to and go through this process ourselves. I mean, as a producer, we get hit up for a lot of different things. We get hit up from company reps that want us to sell their products. We get hit up by sales coaches. And so let's think about the process that we go through. And I know that I've gone through. And the first step is I don't know who these people are. I didn't know who they were at all. I didn't know what they sold. It didn't make any sense to me. And so I was just not cognizant of it. And then I was aware of their existence. And I would look at them and I'd think, that sounds a little silly. I don't need that. Please leave me alone. Get out of my LinkedIn feed. Stop messaging me. I don't want anything to do with it. And then the third phase was I would start to acknowledge, well, hold on, I got a little bit of a problem. I don't want them to know I'm interested because then they'll start selling me on this stuff. Just let me observe a little bit more and consume what you're about. And then I'll figure out if I want to talk to you. And then I've got to a place where, I realize I've really got a problem. I think I want to do something about this. I still don't want to talk to them because I don't want anybody beating me down, hard closing me, but let me see what else I can find out about this topic. And then finally, after doing all that, I'm ready to talk to them. I'm pretty close to making a decision. I want to do it because I've done all these other components on my own. I'm sure that you have done the same thing whenever you go to buy something, whether it's in your professional life or your personal life. So it's important to pause for a second and just have empathy for the people that we're selling to, that they have to go through this same emotional journey when they are getting ready to work with us. And so the number one thing that we can do if we want people to work with us is help facilitate that process. Help people go through the phases that they need to go through in order to feel good about working with us. Now, everybody goes through that process at their own speed. Some people go faster than others. I'll say that the people that take an appointment on the first call, it's almost a red flag because it means that you caught someone when they've got a glaring problem. And that doesn't mean that they're bought into your particular solution. It just means that it's like somebody that walked into the ER and they're looking at you like, dude, my arm's been chopped off. I need someone to sew my arm back on. Can you sew my arm back on? Well, maybe. So that's the type of scenario you're getting into when you get people on the first call. They may or may not be wanting to work with your particular operation that can sew arms back on, but they just need someone that can sew an arm back on. We can make a lot of sales that way. It's just not going to work every time because they're also probably going to work with the first person that can help them sew their arm back on. So just keep that in mind. But most people are going to move through steps 2 through 4 at their own pace. They're going to be annoyed for a period of time. They're going to observe you for a period of time, and then they're going to research you. And some people may always be annoyed with you. Hey, that's part of the game, right? Some people may spend a lot of time cautiously observing you, and some people may spend a lot of time researching you. But that's the journey that they are going to go through, and they're going to go through at their own pace. And see, here's the thing. From the seller side, steps through steps 2 through 4 look identical. There's no way to tell the difference because in that position, they're not talking to you. They're probably not returning your phone calls, not returning your emails. They're not responding to your comments when you comment on their stuff on LinkedIn. They're probably ducking your booth at conventions. Like they're just not talking to you. And that silence, sometimes it means they want you to go away. Sometimes it means absolutely nothing at all, which means we just have to be patient and persistent. And it's really where it's very important for branding. You can either rely on your agency's branding, but personal branding helps a lot. This is where it helps a lot to have a specific niche because when you become the obvious option in a space, over time, people keep hearing your name and it's reinforced that, oh, you got to talk to that person. They're the person that can solve your problem. Why aren't you talking to that person? You kind of need that influence going on over here to reinforce that you are the obvious option. And if you spread yourself too thin and you're in too many networks, it's hard to create that type of brand. So, moving people through phases 2 through 4 is all about branding and persistence. And that's what it takes. So, how do you do that? Like, how do you move from step 1 to step 5? Well, first off, they will not learn about you if they don't know you exist. So, in insurance, a lot of stuff happens around the X date, but you need to know who you're trying to talk to, their position at the company. You need direct contact information for that person, whether it's email or cell phone, or you can message them on LinkedIn. But you need some way to consistently talk to that person. Otherwise, there's no way to create brand awareness. It's just going to be fluky. And then you take that information and you use it to create constant outreach. And you can do that with phone calls, you can do it with email, you can do it with letters, or you can also meet them where they're at. You can do it through social media and LinkedIn and X and Facebook, wherever your people, your tribe are at. You can also do it at networking events, or you can have referral sources. But for people like me, I don't much like to get out and network, and I don't really like events. I prefer to cold call and email, so that's what I've leaned on a lot. So that means that I am cold calling a lot, I'm sending emails a lot, I create a lot of content, and I'm constantly trying to drive people back to that content. That's what I'm constantly trying to do is I will cold call with a short message, or I'll send an email with a short message with a link to something else to help them engage with other content. I'm trying to reinforce that brand that Daryl is the obvious choice for your problem. And so in that way, it's not a pitch, right? What you're doing is you're creating value added content and a way to continue to reinforce this image in the buyer's mind that, oh, this is the guy I need to talk to. And an amazing thing happens when you do that. When you who call the first time, it's really cold. I got to tell you, it's like jumping feet first into the pool on a cold day and everything just gets a little bit icy. Doesn't feel good. But when you send out content, it's like how the pool feels at the end of the summer. It just warms up, right? You They have had the opportunity to learn about who you are. Now they still may not want to engage with you. There's no perfect message. There's no perfect cold call script. There's no way to make every person in the world want to buy with you. Just not going to happen. But the people that are going to be possible buyers, this is how you move them through that journey. And it's about a third of the population, right? A third you're never going to get. A third they're locked in for a period of time. A third you might be able to get them to disengage at some point in time. But your content your brand, that's how you create the message to pull people through that process. So there's a couple of different ways that you can create content. A lot of marketing people will tell you that video is the way to go. And most people, 82%, according to Marcus Sheridan, 82% of content consumed online is through video, kind of like what you're doing right now. And so it's a really important place to start is it gives people a chance to hear your voice, hear the way you talk, see the way you communicate, and they can do it at their own speed and their own pace. Then you can take that YouTube video, you can convert it to blogs, you can create social media uh, content, LinkedIn posts, Twitter posts, you can create email campaigns. There's so much you can do from that base YouTube video. But it's always there. This is an amazing thing. It's a pain to record. It's hard to come up with an idea. There's ways to there's topics that you can lean on that are consistent sources of information, but it's always hard to sit in front of a camera and talk and get it written down. But once it's done, it's always there and you can lean on it for forever. And so if you get questions like, what is cyber insurance over and over again? Well, hey, that would be a great video because it means then that every time you get that question, you say, I can explain it to you, but just so you know, I created this video so that you can hear this explanation anytime you need. And as much as possible, when you're creating content, try to focus on what are called global pains. This is a term I got from the Ultimate Sales Machine. And basically, what I'm encouraging you to do is shift away from features and benefits, especially in the insurance space. We tend to focus a lot on coverage. It's what's property insurance, what's cyber insurance. And the thing is, most people don't care. And it's not specific to insurance. If you think about the computer that you buy, I mean, do you know about how much RAM is in it? Do you know how much memory it has? Do you know all the technical aspects? Maybe you're a tech guy and that's important to you, but you're in the minority if that's the case. Most people just don't understand it. They don't want to engage with it. What they are interested in is how to generate more revenue, especially if you're talking to owners. They're interested in revenue, expenses, profit margin, maintaining a culture, being efficient, and creating a brand. Like they are interested in things that give them sustainable competitive advantages. And if you can talk to those things, like talk about how your product helps propel those things, well, now you're talking about things that they care about all the time. And that's the idea of a global pain. Talk about things they care about all the time, which means they'll be more likely to engage with your ideas and your content all the time. That's the idea. It's also just really, really hard to translate employment practices liability insurance to how you maximize your profit margins. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you my overarching theory is good businesses are good insurance risks. So if you can help people figure out how to be a good business, they're going to be a great insurance risk and a great customer. And so if you some closing thoughts, if you want people to progress through the process where they are scoping you out, they're researching you, and they are making a decision that you are the right person, it means you need to be the unique solution to their problems. You need to understand their world better than anyone else, and you need to have a solution that is different from the rest of the competition. It needs to be obvious, right? And that's why this is so hard, is because that needs a lot of self-reflection. Like, how do you actually position yourself to be different from the other brokers that are calling from the same account? And that's more than I can dive into in this particular video, but they don't need just a quote. They need to know that you are the one that is worth talking to. All right, so to wrap it up, don't try and rush the close on the first call when you get in touch with someone. You're trying to engage in a conversation, and if they're not ready to talk right now, that's normal. Don't sweat that. Understand that they have to go through an emotional journey themselves before they're going to be ready to talk to you. Help them facilitate that process. Help them get the information, get the validation that they need in order to believe that you are the right person to talk to. And you do that with persistence. You do continue to call because you never know when people have turned that corner. They may be ready to talk and they keep putting out that thing to do until next week. So you got to keep calling, but you got to keep providing information and content that's going to help them transition through that process where they are ready to talk to you. All right, guys. Guys and ladies, I hope that helped. If you have questions for me, you can message me on LinkedIn or my contact information's at my website, insuranceforentrepreneurs.net. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. Drop any questions you have in the comments section. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please go build something great.